I can just start talking, and you can take what you want.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, we're good to go. So yeah, maybe just
Right.
give me your thoughts on this. What does it mean?
Sure.
All of that.
So I wouldn't be too concerned about this at this moment. First of all, what we know about it is that it is likely more transmissible, but even that's not entirely clear. And what does more transmissible means? It means it is more likely to find penetration into the community because we are more likely to be infected by it if exposed to it. That is what the data is suggesting. It does not yet suggest that it's more lethal. What does lethality mean? Does it mean that if I am infected, I'm more likely to die? Or does it mean that the disease can now find better entrance into more vulnerable populations? So it might be the latter, but not the former. So it might not be more lethal as individuals, but if it is indeed more transmissible, it might be a bigger risk for neighborhoods and regions we're trying to protect, like long-term care centers. We have to be more vigilant about protecting them. Now, the big question, of course, is will the vaccine still work? And all signs point to yes, the vaccines will still work because the mutation has still left about 99% of the surface proteins intact. And that's how the vaccines identify the virus in order to attack them. And we'll know better in a few weeks because all the vaccine manufacturers are doing their own analyses to make sure. But let's say it isn't. Let's say the vaccines are not as effective. What does that mean? Well, the beauty of the mRNA vaccine, the new technology, is that we can create a new one in 48 hours. In fact, these past 9-10 months of vaccine development have been about testing the safety of the vaccine. It took 48 hours to actually create it. But now that we know that they're safe, then once a new strain is sequenced, we can create a new mRNA vaccine to it in less than a week, in which case it's simply a matter of manufacturing new doses. But we're not there yet. It looks entirely likely that the vaccines will still work. So my one concern is that with greater transmissibility, it raises the level of inoculation needed to reach herd immunity. Because herd immunity is computed based upon the extent to which a disease can penetrate and how quickly it can penetrate the population. So if that has gone up, we go from 70% maybe to 75 or 80% of the population needed to be immune before we are before we've achieved herd immunity. So what does that mean for us as individuals and as a society? Not much. Nothing has changed. We still have to reduce transmission as much as possible. That means mask wearing, distancing, avoiding exposures. And it also means we have to roll out the vaccine really quickly. Right? That hasn't changed. It's always been the plan. And based upon the current schedule for vaccination, I think we'll probably get there. We don't know how many more mutations will occur. But one thing to consider is if we want to reduce the opportunities for mutation, the best way of doing so is to reduce the opportunities for transmission. The fewer people who are infected, the fewer opportunities for mutation there are. And the less opportunity for mutation, the less likelihood that we will mutate to a version that does not respond to the vaccines. So again, nothing has changed on that front. I was going to say something else and I lost my train of thought.
So, no worries. I'll ask you a question.
All right.
In terms of Ottawa, I mean, these cases were in the GTA area, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So
Durham.
what do you say to the people, Durham, right? Yeah. The people that are concerned here, that are hearing of this new variant and oh shit, sure, we got a vaccine coming, but now we got a new virus too. Sure. So I guess, yeah, what's the word for the and what is the concern in a place like Ottawa where we're doing so well, and could this maybe affect the fact that we are doing so well?
I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. First of all, it's probably already here. Let's be blunt here. It's probably been here for a while, and it's unclear how it got here. Obviously, via travel and via multiple exposures. I mean, the people that have been exposed so far, they weren't travelers, so we're not entirely sure how they got infected. But the chain of transmission is muddy. So it's going to get here eventually. Our job is to slow its penetration. It doesn't change what we have to do. It maybe raises the stakes a little tiny bit because we have to protect those long-term care centers even more so than we did before, and maybe use our testing more vigorously and strategically to make sure that we're not introducing infection into these areas. And it just raises the stakes a little bit for making sure the vaccine arrives well on time with sufficient penetration. So for Ottawans, I'm not overly concerned. Frankly, this is not the first mutation this virus has gone through. And every time there's a mutation, it makes the news and people panic for a while. It's the first mutation that has dominated a population, which is a portion of England that is now the dominant strain in, and probably has a quality that makes it, more troubling. And that quality is more transmissibility. But again, more transmissibility is not more lethality. In addition, with mutation often comes less lethality. With mutation often comes more responsiveness to vaccines. So it could go either way. It's just that we tend to, expect the worst because it's 2020. So there's no reason to make apocalyptic predictions at this point. I'm not concerned in the least. I think we have a handle on this.
Okay. That I'm assuming then you're also not concerned, with the situation we're in the province right now. We've got, the trend is over 2,000 cases. Yeah. It's a high load. Now we've got right. A new variant. Are you worried at all about that?
Well, no, and here's why. What could we do? We could have a lockdown and wear masks and keep our distance. We're doing those things. So we're doing what we can do, right? It just means that we have to be careful. It means that we can't slip up. And I think the message here for people is take it seriously. You should have been taken seriously all along. Now the stakes have been raised a little bit. All right. But again, that little bit just means more transmissibility means a higher likelihood of getting it into more vulnerable populations. So that's the takeaway for me.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to add that we haven't chatted about, or?
Nope. I'm just wondering what I got wrong.
We've covered it all. What's that?
I'm just wondering what I got wrong just now. Somebody will tell me.
I'm sure people will help you figure that out, right? Thanks for taking the time, man. Appreciate it. Always good chatting with you.
Bye-bye.